Hello, today I'm just going to read to you some short little stories. Some of them are inspirational and some of them are just kind of plain funny. But I'm just hoping you enjoy them. The first one is called Struggles, and it's retold by Alice Gray. It says, when he was a small boy, he had loved butterflies. Oh, not to net and mount them, but to wonder at their designs and habits. Now, a grown man with his first son to be born in a few weeks, he found himself once again fascinated with a cocoon. He had found it at the side of the park path. Somehow, the twig had been knocked from the tree, and the cocoon had survived undamaged and still woven to the branch. As he had seen his mother do, he gently protected it by wrapping it in his handkerchief and carried it home. The cocoon found a temporary home in a wide-top mason jar with holes in the lid. The jar was placed on the mantel for easy viewing and protection from their curious cat, who would delight in following the sticky silk between her paws. The man watched. His wife's interest lasted only a moment, but he studied the silky envelope. Almost imperceptibly at first, the cocoon moved. He watched more closely, and soon the cocoon was trembling with activity. Nothing else happened. The cocoon remained tightly glued to the twig, and there was no sign of wings. Finally, the shaking became so intense the man thought the butterfly would die from the struggle. He removed the lid on the jar, took a sharp penknife from his desk drawer, and carefully made a tiny slit in the side of the cocoon. Almost immediately, one wing appeared and then outstretched the other. The butterfly was free. It seemed to enjoy its freedom and walked along the edge of the mason jar and along the edge of the mantel. But it didn't fly. At first, the man thought the wings needed time to dry, but time passed and still the butterfly did not take off. The man was worried and called up his neighbor who taught high school science. He told the neighbor how he had found the cocoon, placed it in the mason jar, and the terrible trembling as the butterfly struggled to get out. When he described how he had carefully made a small slit in the cocoon, the teacher stopped him. Oh, that's the reason. You see, the struggle is what gives the butterfly the strength to fly. And so it is with us. Sometimes it's the struggles in life that strengthen our faith the most. All right, that was interesting about butterflies. Okay, here's one about old age. It says it's later than you think. It's later than you think. Everything is further away now than it used to be. It's twice as far to the corner, and they added a hill. I notice I've given up running for the bus. It leaves faster than it used to. It seems to me they're making steps steeper than in the old days. And have you noticed the smaller print they use in the newspapers? There's no sense asking anyone to read aloud. Everyone speaks in such a low voice I can scarcely hear them. Material in dresses is so skimpy, especially around the hips. It's all but impossible to reach my shoelaces. Even people are changing. They're much younger than they used to be when I was their age. On the other hand, people my age are much older than I. I ran into an old classmate the other day, and she had aged so much she didn't remember me. I got to thinking about the poor thing while I was combing my hair this morning, and I glanced in the mirror at my reflection, and confound it, they don't make mirrors like they used to either. So it's a little bit of humor there about old age, but now I have something about old age that may surprise you. Here's examples of happy and successful people over the age of 50. At 50, Samuel Clemens, who is Mark Twain, wrote The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. At 100, Grandma Moses was still painting. At age 98, Titian painted The Battle of Lippantz. At 93, George Bernard Shaw wrote Far-Fetched Fables. At 86, Dorothy Bundy Shaney is the winningest tennis player the sport has ever known and continues to play in tournaments. At 90, Picasso still drew and engraved. Born in 1926, Joe Paterno is currently in his 48th year as member of the Penn State football staff and is known as the winningest coach in history. Now, this paper was written a few years ago, so I don't believe he's still living now. While in his 50s, John Bunyan began to write The Pilgrim's Progress. At 81, Benjamin Franklin helped construct and sign the U.S. Constitution. At 40, after translating the New Testament into a Chinese dialect, Hudson Taylor returned to China and served as a missionary for another 40 years. At 89, Arthur Rubinstein was still performing in New York's Carnegie Hall. At 82, Winston Churchill wrote the 4-volume work, A History of the English-Speaking Peoples. Here's a few examples from the Bible. At 130 years, Adam had a son. He then lived until age 930. At 600, Noah and his sons built the ark. He then lived another 350 years. At 75, Abram started out from Haran. At 80, Moses and his brother Aaron, who was 83 years old, led the Israelites out of Egypt. Enoch, who was taken by God at age 365. Joshua dies at age 110. When will you be too old? Only on the day when you truly have nothing left to give. You and I may never be listed in history books, but we can be rewarded by God for our giving and sharing spirit. A verse in the Bible says in 2 Corinthians 9:7, every man according as he purposeth in his heart, so let him give, not grudgingly or of necessity, for God loveth a cheerful giver. Okay, let me go on to another short story here. Let's see. This one is about what's a grandmother. And this is a letter from a 3rd grader. A grandmother is a lady who has no children of her own. She likes other people's little girls and boys. A grandfather is a man grandmother. He goes for walks with the boys and they talk about fishing and stuff like that. Grandmothers don't have to do anything except to be there. They're so old that they shouldn't play hard or run. It's enough if they drive us to the market where the pretend horse is and have lots of dimes ready. Or if they take us for walks, they should slow down past things like pretty leaves and caterpillars. They should never say, hurry up. Usually grandmothers are fat, but not too fat to tie your shoes. They wear glasses and funny underwear. They can take their teeth and gums off. Grandmothers don't have to be smart, only answer questions like, why isn't God married? How come dogs chase cats? Grandmothers don't talk baby talk like visitors do, because it's hard to understand. When they read to us, they don't skip or mind if it is the same story over again. Everybody should try to have a grandmother, especially if they don't have a television, because they are the only grown-ups who have time. So there's a story for you grandmothers. Okay, here's a story when you thought I wasn't looking. When you thought I wasn't looking, I saw you hang my first painting on the refrigerator, and I wanted to paint another one. When you thought I wasn't looking, I saw you feed a stray cat. I thought it was good to be kind to animals. When you thought I wasn't looking, I saw you make my favorite cake just for me, and I knew that little things are special things. When you thought I wasn't looking, I heard you say a prayer, and I believe there is a God I could always talk to. When you thought I wasn't looking, I felt you kiss me goodnight, and I felt loved. When you thought I wasn't looking, I saw tears come from your eyes, and I learned that sometimes things hurt, but it's all right to cry. When you thought I wasn't looking, I saw that you cared, and I wanted to be everything that I could be. When you thought I wasn't looking, I looked and wanted to say thanks for all the things I saw when you thought I wasn't looking. All right, let's go to a story by Dale Evans Rogers. How many of you remember her? Okay, she's a cowgirl that lived quite a while ago. And first I'm going to read What is a Boy, and then I'm going to read What is a Girl. So we have kind of a theme here going with families and children. But anyway, this is what she says a boy is. Between the innocence of babyhood and the dignity of manhood, we find a delightful creature called a boy. Boys come in assorted sizes, weights, and colors, but all the boys have the same creed: to enjoy every second of every minute of every hour of every day, and to protest with noise, their only weapon, when their last minute is finished and the adult males pack 'em off to bed at night. Boys are found everywhere, on top of, underneath, inside of, climbing on, swinging from, running around, or jumping to. Mothers love 'em, little girls hate 'em. Older sisters and brothers tolerate 'em. Adults ignore them, and heaven protects 'em. A boy is truth with dirt on its face, beauty with a cut on its finger, wisdom with bubble gum in its hair, and the hope of the future with a frog in its pocket. When you are busy, a boy is an inconsiderate, bothersome, intruding jungle of noise. When you want him to make a good impression, his brain turns to jelly, or else he becomes a savage, sadistic jungle creature bent on destroying the world and himself with it. A boy is a composite. He has the appetite of a horse, the digestion of a sword swallower, the energy of a pocket-sized atomic bomb, the curiosity of a cat, the lungs of a dictator, the imagination of a Paul Bunyan, the shyness of a violet, the audacity of a steel trap, the enthusiasm of a firecracker, and when he makes something, he has 5 thumbs on each hand. He likes ice cream, knives, saws, Christmas, comic books, the boys across the street, woods, water in its native habitat, large animals, trains, Saturday mornings, and fire engines. He's not much for Sunday school, company, schools, books without pictures, music lessons, neckties, barbers, girls, overcoats, adults, or bedtime. Nobody else gets so much fun out of trees, dogs, and breezes. Nobody else can cram into one pocket a rusty knife, a half-eaten apple, 3 feet of string, 2 gumdrops, 6 cents, a slingshot, a chunk of unknown substance, and a genuine supersonic code ring with a secret compartment. A boy is a magical creature. You can lock him out of your workshop, but you can't lock him out of your heart. You can get him out of your study, but you can't get him out of your mind. You might as well give up. He's your captor, your jailer, your boss, and your master. A freckled face, pint-sized, cat-chasing bundle of noise. But when your dreams tumble down and the world is a mess, He can put together the broken pieces in just a twinkling with a few magic words. I love you. So that's what boys are. Remember those little boys in your life? Well, now here's what's a little girl, or what's a girl. Little girls are the nicest things that happen to people. They're born with a little bit of angel shine about them, and though it wears thin sometimes, there's always enough left to lasso your heart, even when they're sitting in the mud, or crying temperamental tears, or parading up the street in mother's best clothes. A little girl can be sweeter and badder, often than anyone else in the world. She can jitter around and stomp and make funny noises that frazzle your nerves. Yet just when you open your mouth, she stands there, demure and with that special look in her eyes. A girl is innocence playing in the mud, beauty standing on its head, and motherhood dragging a doll by the foot. Girls are available in 5 colors: black, white, red, yellow, or brown. Yet Mother Nature always manages to select your favorite color when you place an order. They disprove the law of supply and demand. There are millions of little girls, but each is as precious as rubies. God borrows from many creatures to make a girl. He uses the song of a bird, the squeal of a pig, the stubbornness of a mule, the antics of a monkey, the spryness of a grasshopper, the curiosity of a cat, the speed of a gazelle, the slyness of a fox, the softness of a kitten, and to top it all off, he adds the mysterious mind of a woman. A little girl likes new shoes, party dresses, small animals, first grade, noisemakers, the girl next door, dolls, make-believe, dancing lessons, ice cream, coloring books, makeup, cans of water, gone visiting, tea parties, and one boy. She doesn't care much for visitors, boys in general, large dogs, hand-me-downs, straight chairs, vegetables, snowsuits, or staying in the front yard. She's the loudest when you are thinking, the prettiest when she's provoked you, the busiest at bedtime, the quietest when you want to show her off, and the most flirtatious when she absolutely must not get the best of you again. Who else can cause you more grief, joy, irritation, satisfaction, embarrassment, and genuine delight than this combination of Eve, Salome, and Florence Nightingale? She can muss up your home, your hair, and your dignity. Then, just when your patience is ready to crack, her sunshine peeks through and you've lost again. Yes, she is a nerve-wracking nuisance, just a noisy bundle of mischief. But when your dreams tumble down and the world's a mess, when it seems you're pretty much of a fool after all, she can make you a king when she climbs on your knee and whispers, I love you best of all. And that was 2 writings there by Dale Evans Rogers. Okay, let's go, let's see, here to another page. And let's see. A lady had a circle of friends for whom she really wanted to buy Christmas presents. Time slipped away, and it was so busy at work for her, she just wasn't able to get to the store to purchase those gifts. Time was running out. So, not too many days before Christmas, she decided to give up on the gift idea and just buy everybody the same beautiful Christmas card. She went to the local gift store and hurriedly went through the now picked over stack of cards and found a box of 50, just exactly what she wanted. She didn't take time to read the message. She just noticed a beautiful cover on it, and there was gold around it, and a floral appearance on the front of the card, and she thought, perfect! So she signed all of them with all my love. As New Year's came and she had time to go back to 2 or 3 cards she didn't send from that stack, she was shocked to read the message inside. It said in a little rhyme, This Christmas card is just to say a little gift is on its way. So she had a lot of gifts to go give out, didn't she? It says, can you appreciate this cartoon of Dennis the Menace? He rushes into the room with his mother standing there with his mouth open, and he says, holding a big box in his hand, we better tell Santa Claus to forget about the train set I asked for. I just found one on the top shelf of Dad's closet. So we have a little snoop there at Christmas time. Let's see. This is about this is a good one. Too often church services are the kind pictured in the story of the father who was showing his son through a church building. They came to a plaque on the wall, and the little boy asked, Daddy, what's that for? His father said, oh, that's a memorial to those who died in the service. The little boy said, which service, Daddy? The morning service or the evening service? Didn't quite get the idea of the word service, did he? Okay, another one here. Here's a story about Ronald Reagan. This is a true story. It says Peggy Noonan, speechwriter for Ronald Reagan, relates a story about Frances Green, an 83-year-old woman who lived by herself on Social Security in a town just outside San Francisco. She had little money, but for 8 years, she had been sending $1 a year to the Republican National Convention. Then one day, Frances got an RNC fundraising letter in the mail. A beautiful piece on thick, cream-colored paper with black and gold lettering. It invited the recipient to come to the White House to meet President Ronald Reagan. She never noticed the little RSVP card that suggested a positive reply needed to be accompanied by a generous donation. She thought she'd been invited because they appreciated her $1 a year support. Frances scraped up every cent she had and took a 4-day train ride across America. Unable to afford a sleeper, she slept sitting up in a coach. Finally, she arrived at the White House gate, a little elderly woman with white hair, white powder all over her face, white stockings, an old hat with white netting, and an all-white dress, now yellow with age. When she got up to the guard at the gate and gave her name, however, the man frowned, glanced over his official list, and told her that her name wasn't there. She couldn't go in. Frances Green was heartbroken. A Ford Motor Company executive who was standing in line behind her watched and listened to the little scenario. Realizing something was wrong, he pulled Frances aside and got her story. Then he asked her to return at 9 o'clock the next morning and meet him there. She agreed. In the meantime, he made contact with Ann Higgins, a presidential aide, and got a clearance to give her a tour of the White House and introduce her to the President Ronald Reagan, and Reagan agreed to see her, of course. The next day was anything but calm and easy at the White House. Ed Meese had just resigned. There had been a military uprising abroad. Reagan was in and out of high-level secret sessions, but Frances Green showed up at 9 o'clock, full of expectation and enthusiasm. The executive met her, gave her a wonderful tour of the White House, then quietly led her by the Oval Office, thinking maybe, at best, she might get a quick glimpse of the president on her way out. Members of the National Security Council came out. High-ranking generals were coming and going. In the midst of all the hubbub, President Reagan glanced out and saw Frances Green. With a smile, he gestured her into his office. As she entered, he rose from his desk and called out, "Francis, those darn computers, they fouled up again. If I'd known you were coming, I would have come out there to get you myself." He then invited her to sit down, and they talked leisurely about California, her town, her life, and her family. The President of the United States gave Francis Green a lot of time that day, more time than he had. Some would say it was time wasted. But those who say that didn't know Ronald Reagan. He knew this woman had nothing to give him, but she needed something he could give her. And so he, as well as that Ford executive, took time to be kind and compassionate. Good story there about Ronald Reagan. Okay, let's see. A couple more, and then we'll finish up here. Okay, let's see this one. A man in New York City met and married a wife who had a cat. Actually, the cat had her. She loved the cat. She stroked it, combed its fur, fed it, and pampered it. The man detested the cat. He was allergic to cat hair. He hated the smell of the litter box. He couldn't stand the scratching on the furniture. And he couldn't get a good night's sleep because the cat kept jumping on the bed. When his wife was out of town for the weekend, he put the cat in a bag with some rocks, dumped it in the Hudson River, and uttered a joyful goodbye to the cat. When his wife returned and couldn't find her cat, she was overwhelmed with grief. Her husband said, "Look, honey, I know how much that cat meant to you. I'm going to put an ad in the paper and give a reward of $500 to anyone who finds the cat." No cat showed up. So a few days later he said, "Honey, you mean more to me than anything else on earth. If that cat is precious to you, it's precious to me. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll buy another ad and I'll raise the ante. We'll increase the reward to $1,000. A friend saw the ad and exclaimed, "You must be nuts. There isn't a cat on earth that's worth $1,000. The man replied, "Well, when you know what I know, you can afford to be generous." And that's for all you cat lovers out there, that's that story. All right, let's see. Another one here. Let's see. Pastor was preaching on going to heaven. He said, "How many of you would like to go to heaven tonight?" And everybody raised their hands, but a little boy in the balcony. He tried again. "How many of you would like to go to heaven?" Everybody but that one little fella in the balcony. So he said to him, "Son, don't you want to go to heaven?" The little boy said, "Well, yeah, someday, but I thought you were getting up a load right now." He wasn't ready to go right now, was he? All right, let's see. Okay. A kindergarten teacher told everyone to draw a picture of what was important to them. In the back of the room, Johnny began to labor over his drawing. Everybody else had finished and handed in their picture, but he didn't. He was still drawing. The teacher graciously walked back and put her arm around Johnny's shoulder and said, "Johnny, what are you drawing?" He didn't look up. He just kept on working feverishly at his picture. He said, "God." "But Johnny," she said gently, "no one knows what God looks like." He answered, "They will when I'm through." And that's a few of our humorous stories there. Let me read one more for all of your women out there. Well, before I read this one, let me read, this is one by Paul Harvey. I bet you some of you remember Paul Harvey and and the different excerpts he used to put in the newspaper and things. And so, two more. This one says, "We tried so hard to make things better for our kids that we might have made them worse. For my grandchildren, I'd like better. I'd really like for them to know about hand-me-down clothes and homemade ice cream and leftover meatloaf sandwiches. I hope they learn humility by being humiliated and learn honesty by being cheated. I hope they learn to make their beds and mow the lawn and wash the car. And, my cherished grandchild, I really hope nobody gives you a brand new car when you're 16. I hope you have a job by then. It'll be good if at least one time you can see a baby calf born and your old dog put to sleep. I hope you have to share a bedroom with your younger brother. It's all right to draw a line down the middle of the room. When you want to see a Disney movie and your little brother wants to tag along, I hope you'll let him. I hope you have to walk uphill to school with your friends and that you live in a town where you can do it safely. I hope you learn to dig in the dirt and read books. When you learn to use those newfangled computers, I hope you also learn to add and subtract in your head. I hope you get razzed by your friends when you have your first crush on a girl, and when you talk back to your mother that you learn what Ivory soap tastes like. May you skin your knee, climb in a mountain, burn your hand on a stove, and get your tongue stuck on a frozen flagpole. I sure hope you make time to sit on a porch with your grandpa and go fishing with your uncle. May you feel sorrow at a funeral and the joy of holidays. I hope your mother punishes you for throwing a baseball through a window and that she hugs and kisses you when you give her a plaster of Paris mold of your hand. These things I wish for you. Tough times and disappointment, hard work, and above all, happiness." I'm sure most of you remember some of those things happening to you. Okay, our last one, and this is for all the ladies out in the crowd. It says, "By the time the Lord made woman, he was into his 6th day of working overtime. An angel appeared and said, 'Why are you spending so much time on this one?' And the Lord answered, 'Have you seen my spec sheet on her? She has to be completely washable, but not plastic, have over 200 movable parts, all replaceable, and able to run on Diet Coke and leftovers, have a lap that can hold 4 children at one time, have a kiss that can cure anything from a scraped knee to a broken heart, and she'll do everything with only 2 hands.' The angel was astounded at the requirements. Only 2 hands? No way. And that's just on the standard model? That's too much work for one day. Wait until tomorrow to finish." "But I won't," the Lord protested. "I am so close to finishing this creation that is so close to my own heart. She already heals herself when she's sick, and she can work 18-hour days." The angel moved closer and touched the woman. "But you've made her so soft, Lord." "She is soft," the Lord agreed, "but I've also made her tough. You have no idea what she can endure or accomplish." "Will she be able to think?" asked the angel. The Lord replied, "Not only will she be able to think, she'll be able to reason and negotiate." The angel then noticed something and reaching out touched the woman's cheek. "Oops. It looks like you have a leak in this model. I told you that you were trying to put too much into this one." "That's not a leak," the Lord corrected. "That's a tear." "What's the tear for?" the angel asked. The Lord said, "The tear is her way of expressing her joy, her sorrow, her pain, her disappointment, her love, her loneliness, her grief, and her pride." The angel was impressed. "You are a genius, Lord. You thought of everything. Woman is truly amazing." And she is. Women have strengths that amaze men. They bear hardships and they carry burdens, but they hold happiness, love, and joy. They smile when they want to scream. They sing when they want to cry. They cry when they're happy and laugh when they're nervous. They fight for what they believe in. They stand up to injustice. They don't take no for an answer when they believe there's a better solution. They go without so their family can have. They go to the doctor with a frightened friend. They love unconditionally. They cry when their children excel and cheer when their friends get awards. They're happy when they hear about a birth or a wedding. Their hearts break when a friend dies. They grieve at the loss of a family member, yet they're strong when they think there's no strength left. They know that a hug and a kiss can help to heal a broken heart. Women come in all sizes and all colors and shapes. They'll drive, fly, walk, run, or email you to show how much they care about you. The heart of a woman is what makes the world keep turning. They bring joy and hope. They have compassion and ideals. They give moral support to their family and friends. Women have vital things to say and everything to give. Think about this, you women out there, and just to remind you how amazing you are. However, if there's one flaw in women, it's that they tend to forget their worth. All right, a few short little quips and quotes and stories for today, and I will be seeing you soon. Love y'all, miss ya. Bye.